And the Lulu ban, of course, is what Voyboy dominated them with last time. Don't want to let ManCloud get that on the other end.
Wow, they've really hit up Dominate on this one. We may see him have to revert back to Wukong if he doesn't have anything else. Elise has been picked up for Xmithy. That's what we got so far.
Yeah. Maybe Elise can keep him warm. Xmithy with that. You know, a lot of these players use hand warmers. He's just putting his hands right in the sweater. So, Xmithy feels pretty good about that.
He's relaxing all the way up to the race on this one. Making sure he doesn't pull anything in the pregame.
I want to see Quas play something different again. He has been so good when he plays stuff that isn't just the Renekton Shyvana.
I mean, 4 straight games of Trundle in Super Week. I think he likes Trundle a bit. Then going to Aatrox yesterday, brought out something new for us. We all know he loves that Aatrox in the solo queue. Had to bring it to the LCS. With a few picks on the board, it looks like Leona and Kha'Zix for the hover. Dominate maybe taking that for himself.
Could be. It would make a lot of sense with Owl Dominate's playstyle. He likes to go much farther in than most people, and the new Kha'Zix Ultimate Evolution on R really allows you to do that. The best player I saw doing was actually at IM Katowice when Insec was playing that Kha'Zix. It just allows you to create so much range when you're using your ultimate and really just be wherever you want as long as you're using that stealth appropriately. And I will dominate, because he wants to go in, will fit very well with that type of champion.
I mean, with the upgraded ult, who has 6 seconds of stealth?
Evelyn. Damn it. Yes.
You got me. So we'll see what else they have for this coming in. XDG's side now, Xmithy and ManCloud for picks 4 and 5 to come in here. Talking it out. Xmithy already has his jungler, so they're figuring out. We see the support. Easily get that up for ourselves. They don't want to show anything that's going in the top lane yet, or maybe they do. Maybe they want to get it before Curse can have the chance.
And I wonder if now that there's been a Shyvana picked on the other side, if Quas just defaults to Renekton. Even though I do feel like Shyvana is the type of thing that you can play multiple different top laners against. I would hope to see something fresh.
It is Quas.
You know, actually, you wouldn't think of it when you see the XDG versus Curse matchup, but Curse has actually won all 3 prior meetings this year against XDG. They're going to hope to take the 4-0. They have had very long games against XDG as well, and I wonder if that's going to factor in to their pick and ban decisions, whether they are staying away from extremely strong early game champions and really trying to pick scalers. I mean, if you look at who's on both sides already, these are all actually very strong late game champions. A lot of it will hinge on these last few picks, though, whether we get to see more of an early game style. That Renekton kind of says it. They are going a little bit earlier, which could be dangerous since these games go late.
6 seconds for Quas to lock it in. He hovers over the Renekton. It's going to be versus Shyvana, if it is, and it does get locked in for Quas. So Voyboy's left up to counter in the mid lane. Ziggs has been picked by ManCloud. Gragas stays alive here. We did see a bit of a nerf coming into this spot, but not too much. Still seeing playtime for him.
Yeah. I do wonder what Voyboy's going to go with on his last pick, because he's pulled out some interesting things. You know, sometimes he randomly throws in Vladimir.
He's one of the highest unique pick champions for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. He plays a lot of different stuff. It's because he's just that transition from top lane to the mid lane. Yeah. He plays even more things. I'm picking up a role. I'm just going to play everything.
ManCloud himself also has racked up at least 10 or 11 unique champions. So these guys can push themselves outside the box just a little bit when they need to. ManCloud goes and falls back to a familiar face of Ziggs for himself. See what they have on the last 2 picks for XDG. We're looking for something in that 80 carry
should
support
probably
position.
take Sivir here.
This will be a new 80 carry for him.
Ooh. Yeah, especially against Jinx. I mean, if we're talking about late game 80 carries as well, with the Get Excited passive on Jinx, that is an immense amount of late game power for XDG and a lot of AoE.
Oh.
Yeah, imagine like that COG game we just saw where Shifter was nearly blowing up the team with the Fed Ziggs. If that happened with XDG here, and then instead of a Lucian, you actually have a Jinx Super Mega Death Rocket flying in there, it could get rather dangerous.
I love the pick up of Zyra here. We saw Lemon Nation using that in IM Katowice to disengage a huge engage composition. That's what you're going to get diving in a Leona, Kha'Zix, Renekton. But then you have that Stranglethorn to come out from Zyra and stop it all.
The disengage is maybe coming back, at least against this Curse composition. Since at least for champions like Viona and Renekton, they have a lot of in, but not necessarily much get back out of there.
Yeah. Oh.
Kastan and Kha'Zix would definitely change things up a bit. Now, Kha'Zix has received so many changes over the past few patches. It's important to note this is the 4.3 patch, so it was not even him. It's Syndra. Thanks a lot for the switch up to Purple Champions. Interesting, though. Void had, I believe, 2 games on Syndra.
Yeah, and he
both
has
against LeBlanc.
Great timing.
He has
stopping
really good
distortions.
timing on it, but he's yet to win with it.
That's true.
As well.
On the back end, he has not gotten the victories. Strong laning phase, but it does seem to fizzle out as the team, maybe this time, can get on a scat of the week engage and really follow up. They have a great follow-up team.
Curse is kind of challenging themselves with this team composition, I feel like, because they haven't been a team that's been able to close out games where they have early advantages, and they are picking a very early game-centric team.
Yep.
Even Syndra, as powerful as she can be, she is a bit of an early game caster. She has that single target burst. When it reaches a point where she can't instantly kill one person, she falls off. It's going to be very important that Curse wins this early because XDG has the late game.
What we're about to see as the game gets underway, you're going to go ahead and check out who you think will stand victorious over the charred remains of their enemy's Nexus. According to LOLesports.com, 82% of you think that Curse is going to rack another win into the column of the W.
Yeah, I mean, 3-0 on the season is hard to argue with. Curse as well, winning 4 of their last 5 games. XDG being the last place team in the North American LCS. They suffered a very painful defeat at the hands of TSM yesterday in our first game of the day. And XGG is still just trying to find something. They seem to have that really brief moment of time where it seemed like XGG was coming back when they just picked up Sheep and they beat Cloud9.
Right.
And it was like, well, that was it. You know,
that surge
Smithy
of
back
new
in the
energy.
jungle. They got lane present. Zuna's great on AD carry again. But since then, you know, Zuna's been diving 5 or 6 times a game.
Yeah.
Often very Smithy's mid lane presence has been fairly non-existent. They're just kind of back into that slump again.
That's something I was actually going to bring up. You just said that mid lane presence. It was something that we touched on a lot when Zuna was in the jungle. But now with everything kind of back in order, XGG has yet to find those consistent wins. Now versus Curse, who actually has quite a bit of momentum of their own coming into this week.
Yeah, Curse is looking to be that 4th team in North America right now because as the season has grown later and later, there's so much separation in the standings.
No 7-way tie here.
1-2, yeah, no 7-way tie in North America, that's for sure. I don't even think we have 1 tie in the standings right now.
No.
I mean, it's TSM COG or TSM Cloud9 COG, and now Curse, who even though it's in the standings doesn't reflect it. Definitely in the last 5 games, 4-1, trying to make that late season surge.
Dominate, I wouldn't say struggled a little bit, but definitely got a lot of attention in the early part of their games. You remember his blue buff being stolen when he was on Gragas. A lot of teams would focus his buffs in the early game. Dominate's the one to come up huge here for these teams in the early game. See Cop on his Caitlyn.
Against XTG.
Yep. Overall.
Is on Caitlyn. Someone who is pretty good at surviving. Cop, we do really need to talk about how much better he's gotten throughout the years because he has been on Curse longer than anyone has been on Curse. Way back even in Season 2 regional playoffs, he was basically, he had said himself, he was like a Chaox imitator back then because in that time, Chaox was kind of seen as one of the best AD carries in North America. And Cop was like the passive Chaox, but he would just be so passive to a fault at that time in his career. And then as it grew in Season 3, he was the KDA leader at the spring split of 2013.
Yeah, like
everyone
36
was saying,
KDA or something?
oh, Cop just stays in the back. He only has a high KDA because he doesn't die, which
Playing
is kind of
MF,
true.
right.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a minute because Zune and Sheep are walking over ward.
We'll see if they can keep safe on this one. And they do get themselves in for that early ward, which may be extra aggression as they head towards the top lane with the duo.
And they're doing the lane swap with Jinx this time. We saw in our first game of the day where there was the Dignitas lane swap and they had the Quinn up top and they couldn't actually take 2 turrets by the time TSM could. In this one, if they do have the Jinx up top, they can absolutely just power through that damage reduction and still take 2 turrets within the same time frame as a Caitlyn and Leona. So it's a very smart move to play with Jinx to avoid Caitlyn stronger than
This means we got Benny and Quaz hovering around in the jungle as they soak up the extra experience. See how XGD does it. They're going to leave the little wolves here, and he's going to go back down. He's going to go Wraith for himself.
Yeah, top laners become jungle helpers, and they just split things up really on. But anyway, Cop, because these guys are just going to be pushing in for now. There's no dives that are looking like they're going to be happening. Kopp in the spring split of 2013, he died something like 9 times in the first 20 games or something crazy. He was almost never dying, which is why his KDA was so high, but he was never really involved in team fights. And then as the summer split progressed, when he got Edward as a support and started playing more Draven, he got a little bit more aggressive. Here comes the jungle invade, though.
See if they can take this right away. It would be pretty big for Dominant. He's able to get it. Smithy didn't really have the smite going down in there, so it would have been quite hard for him to get anything.
Just so happens that the game I want to tell a story about Kopp. People are invading jungles. What happened to the passive early games? But anyway, yeah, three man in the top lane. Right there for XDG. Quas isn't even going to allow them to think about a dive, and we're going to see this turret race, I think, especially if I Will Dominate comes all the way down here. They might just trade the 2 turrets, and then we'll get back to the normal game.
23 to 24 or 23 to 22 CS in that bottom to top lane for the AD carries, as they're really not going to have too much trouble up until we get to that ultimate area of the game. Woo, Smithy going back onto Quas, but it looks like Quas is just trying to pull him off the turret. He's not going to get much out of anything right now.
I wonder if Benny is going to die here. He's definitely sticking around, trying to get experience, and there are 3 people ready to dive him. You can see Quas is also in dangerous position, but Benny, he would probably have to flash away if they go for him.
Well, he gets the W on. They get 1 red buff proc in. He does get the leap after Dominate, figuring the team wouldn't be there, so he uses it for a bit more damage. Gold is even. They start trading evenly, but this is where the Jinx comes into play. We'll see what they can do to the 2nd tier turret to the Caitlyn.
Yeah, the fact that the 1st tier turret died in the same pace means that XDG is actually pushing substantially faster because the damage reduction exists on the top lane turret, but not on the bottom.
Here we go. Trying to get some grasping roots out, keeping Quas at bay. He's soaking up a bit of that experience as it just crushes into the turret. And that's going to be big clear in the bottom lane. You can see XDG ready to pick up 2nd tier now. But without the vision, this is going to slow the game down a little bit.
Meanwhile.
Yeah, meanwhile.
In the mid lane.
Face to face, just going brute force at each other, not giving a care about what damage to be done because they have vision of everybody else on the map. It's just those 2, 1v1.
Yeah. One underrated aspect of these lane swap strategies, or underappreciated aspect more so, is that it guarantees a 1v1 isolation for the mid laners. ManCloud and Voyboy, as you saw, they were both out of mana. They were both much lower early on in the game because they knew exactly where the junglers were since they were shown in lanes. And it actually gave a bit of an edge to Voyboy because Syndra likes to play aggressive but is very unsafe.
Right now, Voyboy pretty low on mana, but it looks like he's holding mid. So ManCloud doesn't get any ideas that they're trying to do Dragon. No coverage for XDG here is a lot of their focus with those 3 members were on the top side. Curse really picking up big on that one. First Dragon, it's gone. And at least they have the timer.
Smithy knows now
from
that
what
gone.
Timer he has.
Yeah, I guess they never saw anyone running away as well.
Right.
But Curse comes out slightly ahead in that trade because they got 2+ Dragon, whereas XDG didn't. Since they had, that's what happens in the extended push in the top lane. Now they're just going to continue to push down turrets. I mean, this is a very much a push as fast as possible composition early for XDG. If they can actually get a lot of turrets down early from Curse, it will make it easier for XG to stall into the late game, which is what they eventually want.
I like the movement so far. ManCloud goes back to buy. You see the top lane coming down to push the minions in, and then Zuna's going to go back and soak it back up top. They have something on the list to do every time. They're not just doing useless backs because they have money to spend. So XDG keeping in mind that they may be falling behind a little bit. They're cleaning everything up here. Got Dominate coming out of base. He hasn't finished up anything too big. That first buy of Smithy on the Sork boots.
Yeah, he's going to throw that ult out there because XG was slowing the rotation, so that's going to stop that push from Curse. Nice ult. Really good timing.
Got to do what you got to do. The team communication is top-notch right now for XDG, but that means that won't be too much of an initiation from that Mega Inferno bomb. Ziggs goes back to mid, and it's just going to be 3 still pushing in the top lane. Hopefully XDG can stop this, as Smithy is just in the wing.
Now that the lanes have kind of reset here, that whole maneuver was really just to get Voyboy in isolation against ManCloud and make it so Jinx didn't have to lane against Caitlyn early. There's a lot of kill pressure from Leona, especially against his Hour right at the start of the game. But now you can see Sheep has even picked up that Sightstone to go with the Spell Thief, so he is a little bit more resilient to the Leona burst, at least for now.
Level 6 is becoming apparent now, but with Curse grabbing that first Dragon, they don't have to worry about any of that surge of power that XDG could have as well with these ultimates coming in. A little time to bide before that next dragon. Gives Curse the ability to farm these lanes up. Cop is actually down in CS this game. That is not usual for him.
Yeah, it's what happens with all the lane swapping. They were really just pushing. It's not about the lane mechanics. It's about how fast can you kill those turrets and clear the waves. They're going for speed more than precision with the last hitting early on in the game, which is why Cop is a little short.
Causing the slice and dice out by Quaz as he gets a few more minions getting pressured into his turret here. We have Smithy in the bottom lane, so they'll have vision on him, but I don't know if Dominate will actually act on this.
He's
they may try to kill mid lane.
So he has to back away. The timing right there is really beneficial for XDG, denying a huge wave of minions there for Quaz.
Not good for him, but Quaz has played from behind before. He knows what the deal is, and it looks like he's going to have to deal with that just now. Calling from help for Dominate. He will offer. He'll be down in the bottom lane in just a second. He shouldn't lose his turret here. He should be pretty healthy, but he is losing all that experience. Ultimate from Dominate. Pops the second one. They're going to see him coming in on that one, though, since he came out of it and back into it. And this is going to be some big damage, but I don't know if it's enough to follow through with the kill.
Yeah, Quaz just wasn't level 6, so he couldn't get aggressive with them. At least it gave him the amount of time to save that turret, especially since Quaz went Brutalizer early. That time lost and him falling behind despite building the Brutalizer, which he built to try and dominate the lane, really hurts him. It's smart of Xmithy to stay down here to continue to try and punish.
Yeah, pretty difficult gank to get the Slippery Crocodile in and get him into a cocoon. It looks like Smithy will back in the bottom lane. Blue buffs transferred over to the mid here around 9 minutes. We'll see what they can do the next amount of time to kill each other. They haven't gotten too much aggression from the junglers here. As you said, that lane swap has kind of left the mid lane on an island this time. Coming up on 10 minutes, Zuna 77 to 62 still in that CS. ManCloud keeping himself up at 91 to 88 over Voyboy. Voyboy's really been on that Lulu kick the past few games, and we can see how his aggression has slowed down a little bit when he's not on it.
Voyboy's skill order on Syndra as well. He's maxing Q, but actually E second, which is a little bit better for the long-range stun. The damage on his stun is actually calculated by your point value in E for Syndra. So when he hits someone with a stun, it's actually going to be doing more damage with that skill order. And the slow from like the double hit with the W orb is not necessarily as large for Voyboy here. It's a pretty good wave clear as well. You can clear waves from a longer distance if you pass through E, because it just goes so far.
Those pretty cheeky initiations as well. Voyboy getting the extra step he needed there. That would have been a big play coming from Xmithy and ManCloud. So with that knowledge of the jungler mid lane, 1 minute on the dragon. We're going to see down, Quas is kind of rotating mid, going down. Well, if Curse is going to be ready for this. Bunny Fufu will back, and it actually looks like they are going to get ready for dragon.
It's going to be pretty important here. Curse is safe to go down here. They're going to be losing this turret as well. So now a 3-turret to 2 lead by XDG. The dragon fight's going to be so critical here. Because Quas has been put back a little bit, he's not as strong as he wants to be for this mid-game dragon fight. And fighting a Ziggs is always dangerous in those corridors. If XDG could secure this, they would really put themselves in a very solid position to not get 4-0'd by Curse on the season.
Very scary amount of area of effect here to come out from XDG in this fight. Pretty much Xmithy. Well, no, he has Volatile Spider. Everybody has a bit of area of effect. It's like they back off for now. May be able to get some damage on Voyboy here in the mid lane as Benny rotates over.
Everybody coming in for this one. It's going to be really critical to see who lands the stun where and who takes the amount of poke. XDG has a fair amount of poke. If any of those bouncing bombs hit, it's going to be pretty tough for Curse to come back from it. Dominate trying to flank around the side as well.
His ultimate's up. We know that he did level that, not the Qs, getting a little bit of extra damage every time he activates that ultimate to be unseen.
XDG has a superior position here, actually, because they can continue to push the mid lane, and they would actually give them all 3 outer turrets down, whereas Curse is kind of just trapped in the dragon, and they do not want to walk in to Ziggs and Shyvana AoE. Not to mention, when Quas has to defend this, it means Curse has to give up position at the dragon. XDG is actually holding almost all of the cards here.
Voyboy can't really set up anything on the map either to get a good ultimate off. He's got 1 out, but it's only going to be a few more when he goes for the ulti. If he tries it, 12.5 minutes in, XDG and Curse standing toe-to-toe now, and who's going to give up this Dragon? Smithy provides a bit of vision on top of all the wards they have, but it looks like they're going to be able to clear it out and possibly push out Dragon and get this mid lane aggression.
Yeah, they even lost ward control over it. They were too fearful of the Ziggs. You could see a zoning potential just from those bouncing bombs. Maybe they're going to try and force it now. Bunny Fufu walked through a minefield just to get here.
It's going to be up on Benny. That's the damage that he can. Dragon's descent right out. Sheep's on the outside. He still has that Stranglethorns down. Is he going to chuck it? Maybe. No.
They are so low right now. Xmithy!
There it is, going in for the fight. First blood going over to Xmithy. Very nice job to capitalize there, and it might be too much. Quaz tries to slice and dice his way back into the engagement. A sliver of health left for him as he limps away. One bomb over the wall. It's the zap that he dodges. Can it be the throw from ManCloud? No, it's just on the outside.
But he's went the
trying
wrong
to
way.
make him into a new pair of shoes. This is going to be just a final auto attack that he needs. Coming up from ManCloud there, 2-1 overall, and what a hectic fight that was.
And the Dragon for XGG, that is huge right now since their composition is so strong in the late game as well. Curse is going to have to do a lot of outplaying if they want to make it back into this game, losing the blue buff as well. Or did, yeah, he got a small little blue buff on that.
Going over to Smithy. It's under the abdomen. See what happened in that fight, because it was crazy.
It was a really hard force by Curse. First and foremost, you could see the Stranglethorn zoned out Void Boy from getting in the fight. And Dominate, we know he likes to go in first, but he was extremely low. And Xmithy wasn't even really in the initial fight, and he was able to get around for the assassination. Of course, Void Boy had a lot of orbs on the ground. Count them there. It was 7, actually. That's pretty much as you're going to get from Void Boy, or from a Syndra. And that's why he was able to burst down Benny so effectively.
Great fight coming in for XDG. A lot of low mana bars for XDG on that one, but their perseverance as a team really put them on top when it made them come out on top of that fight. Indeed, 2K gold lead is what gets them 3-2 in turrets, so they're starting to grab up more of that map. Looks like Dragon getting in their favor, and then that fight was what they needed. We talked about XDG being an early game team, and if they can get that momentum, they can snowball it very well.
They picked such a late game composition too. The lane swapping
making it hard
really beneficial for XDG here. Cop wasn't able to use any of his lane superiority. You know, Bunny and I Will Dominate have developed some very good synergy, and they weren't able to do that either because of all the lane swaps. Ooh. That's a lot of damage.
That could be Sheep. Not enough on the ground for Void Boy to output enough damage. Looks like they're going to be able to stay safe. Dominate looking on the backside. The ultimate is up. You can definitely go invisible here. Well, it looks like they're going to back off just for now. They don't have full vision of the rest of XDG. They do not want to go blind into this fight.
Yeah, Curse still trying to defend that middle turret. If that goes down, they'll lose even more control. But they've already had both their buffs stolen away from them. So whatever control they think they have with this turret being up doesn't really exist. The best they could hope for is that XDG overcommits for this turret and Curse gets a turnaround fight.
A lot of things have worked out here with this swap up for XDG. ManCloud having an untilted lane by junglers has really set him apart from his usual game. 145 to 125, and his Sork boots ahead, and the rest of the team right behind him now. The mentality of XDG on the up and up.
Yeah, ManCloud with the blue buff Ziggs right now just sieging down like a madman. There's no Shyvana here, but Bunny is just behind on the owner right now. Quite honestly, he doesn't have the resilience to be the initiator. And Dominate with that full offense Kha'Zix doesn't really either. So they're just stuck, staying at this turret. And they're going to lose it shortly if they don't fight.
That was nice. Bot lane, farming up a
nice
bit of
camera
gold.
follow.
Yeah, absolutely.
The camera mechanics are on LCS level, I would say.
That gold lead being stretched out a little bit. ManCloud really helping to farm those side lanes. Is putting up a bit as well as the turrets. The Dragons they've been able to secure. Benny is not within these fights. He is on the top lane getting that push in. That's going to call Quas back as well. He's not too sad about that because he would love to get some farm on from the early game pressure he had.
Yeah, this is really too bad for Curse. It's looking like the Curse that has lost so many games early on in the season, not the one that has won 4 of their last 5. Especially during their win streak, they've shown a little bit of improvement in their ability to make plays for themselves, but mainly they've just been laning a lot better. So they haven't had to make these big plays to come back and things.
And that's exactly where they're faltering with down in every lane.
Well, exactly. Well, XGG also neutralized the laning phase with their map movement and rotations, and therefore Curse couldn't use any of their laning skills to pull ahead in the lead, and they just don't have tactics right now to pull themselves back into it. They're not pulling any creative moves. They're just victims to XDG's siege right now.
That's something that XDG's been needing to do for a while, is go outside the box. They come into these games with, you know, high picks, but they don't do anything different with them. They go through the laning phase and into the late game phase. With this one, they've kind of created their own game for themselves, caused Curse to have to play follow the leader. 18 minutes in, 2-1, 3K gold lead, and 4-2 in turrets. It's going to be nice. Pink wards, pretty much a security system set up by XDG in the top side of the jungle of Curse.
Look at all those pink wards as well that XDG's thrown.
Yeah.
That is an assertion of map control as well. When they're that confidently putting pink wards there, they're generally not thinking Curse is going to be able to stick around to take them down. Those could all those pink wards could effectively be baits as well if you're taking 5 hits to try and finish one of those off.
It's a lot of control on the top side of the map, but we got a dragon in 30 seconds. So we're going to have to see how many more wards they have for the bottom side of the map here.
Yeah, and how willing is Curse to take this later? If they're feeling the pressure of the impending doom from XDG's team composition, you would want them to force something, but they've lost so much map control that they're going to be funneling through corridors where Ziggs can blow them up. So it's a very dangerous situation for Curse here. They either give up the dragon and let XDG get an even bigger lead and take it more to late, or they try something now to try and flip the game around.
Yeah. Have to be big. Now is the time to do it. So much zone control that XDG has over these. Max range. It's going to miss a little bit of damage, but they follow up huge there. Smithy coming in, not going to be enough there. The Hex Striker coming up very big to save a lot of damage. I don't know if they want to be able to get back into this one.
Let's see what they actually took down. They got the Ziggs ult and the Vi ult right there, but they basically lost their jungler because he is so low, doesn't have jump resist, and doesn't have an ultimate. It's a very tough dragon to defend once again. XDG could probably just take this.
Got vision. XDG has a way to clear that. I think Smithy's the trinket up, but they're worried about the fight right now, not what kind of vision is on them. Quas waiting to get himself over that minefield. They have so much to prevent them from getting into this dragon.
Yeah, that minefield lasts 10 seconds, and that's 10 seconds of XDG taking the dragon, but here comes the fight!
That's a quarter of health off a sheep. Zuna gets it up very fast, right into the backside. Dominus from Quas. He goes for the Call of the Meek as well and almost gets himself a double kill. Curse picks up the zone control on the fight, and it looks like they're going to push XDG out of this one for the dragon.
They pushed them out, but it was after XDG had secured the dragon. It was tough timing. They tried to wait out that minefield, but they just couldn't. And XDG was able to finish off the dragon. Watch this last-ditch initiation after they got locked up by the Zyra E. They still had to go through the Zyra ult as well. It's all that disengaged to keep Curse zoned, but Quas broke through the offensive line of XDG, so to speak, in that game and was able to find the back line. But it just was a little bit too late.
Curse trying to close that gap, doing what they can. They pick up a few turrets along with what's been happening. Now 4-3 instead of 4-2. The kills help. The money needs to be going on these carries. There's not too much to be coming out of Cop right now. He has got himself up in CS and charging that Bloodthirster. Right now, Quas needs to get bigger for the team if they're going to be an all-in team here.
Quas always adds a little bit of flavor to his builds. You don't often see Renekton's go like Brutalizer or Banshee's build. It's not like Quas builds bad items. He's just always a little bit different than what everybody else would do. He gets the cooldown reduction from the Brutalizer, whereas a lot of Renektons in the past would go Spirit Visage. But in that case, he gets the Banshee's Veil, which is honestly a far superior magic defensive item. The spell block on it is often really undervalued by people. But being able to block either an Elise stun or any of Ziggs' poke is invaluable in this game.
We got Dominate leveling up the jump. Just got his second evolution in. It's like we know ManCloud figured out that he's over there with the pink ward coverage they have right now on the top side. It's been cleared out a little bit, but XDG still holds the one right under the Baron Bush as they start to push bottom lane. Not too much to take down the turret here. They don't have the 80. Oh, there's Zuna. All right. Zuna. He was just a little late. Straggling.
Back. This is them having more people, but I'm just worried about the wave clear. Voidboy can clear waves very well with Syndra. The more they set up these sieges as well, just the longer the game is guaranteed to be. And as it continues like this, all their carries are farming up more and more. XDG versus Curse have been very long games the first 3 times they met this season, but every time Curse has been able to come out on top. It's going to be tricky for them to do it this time, though.
Gotta get those bombs over the wall. They won't bounce right through anymore. That's what ManCloud's trying to do from the
Get that
side.
big heave over the wall.
Heave, oh. Got to put a little bit more water in them. See what they can do. Pushing down mid. Xmithy's trying to give him something else to think about here, but Cop's ready to soak up that experience and all that CS. XDG's really knocking at the door. One of their more definitive games once they've had the lead. They're not just resting on the fact that they have a lead. They're trying to push it now.
Yeah, keeping up the siege potential.
So much. Not really.
Tons of poke. Yeah.
Huge.
Tons of poke. It's definitely a push composition so far. And Cop has to burn barrier.
Oh dear!
Barrier doesn't have barrier.
He just kind of squeezed his cheeks on that one and hoped that he would live.
Well, it worked out for him. That's one way of putting it.
23 minutes into the game, still the siege coming in on this top turret in the bottom lane. Will they be able to get it? It doesn't look like it
too much
just
stuff
yet.
to keep them back. It's just the
particle spam
traps.
everywhere. We'll get
The
it.
bombs from
it's going
Ziggs,
down
the
soon.
minefield,
Bunny
the
Fufu
coons,
getting hit.
the Zyra plants, Stranglethorns.
Syndra balls. There's a lot of stuff coming out.
This
Not
is
too many.
painful for Curse. They need to get like a flank attack across the side here, but Quas just can't make that way.
Maybe something here. Curse steps out a little too far, but no, they know it's far enough because XDG has backed off themselves. The wards finally start to come out, and they went from 100% to 10% on that turret and then said, you know what, we'll get it later.
Well, they did 90% of it.
Yeah, there you
Finished
go.
most of the work.
Numbers don't lie.
Procrastinating League of Legends style. Most of it done. Do it later.
Well, it's going to turn into a dragon in a minute and a half here, but it looks like it's going to be the chase. Dominate!
Ooh.
Playing a little hide and seek now, but it looks like he's going for the spider. One
still there.
back time. He is definitely still there. They've turned it off, but now you can see how it looks to XDG in that engagement. Bunny Fufu goes in. Quas throws on Dominant. I don't know if they're going to be able to get any closer to this one. Oh, the flash at just the last second coming in from Void Boy. He can still deliver DPS to the fight. Throws it onto Benny, and that might be enough with the Ignite. But they bring it back with a Super Mega Death Rocket coming in. It's a double kill in for Zuna, and they are going to keep chasing. I swear I can hear him yelling from here.
That shot at the end really turned that fight. It actually seemed like Curse might catch the fight they needed just based off I Will Dominate slipperiness. Not just running straight away with his ultimate, really baited XGG into part of a fight here. You can see like when he just dodged the Stranglethorns, it was a pretty clean initiation on Azuna. If they could have finished him off,
yeah.
Curse wins this fight, maybe even takes something like a Baron afterwards because they're in position, but he got out once all the flashes were down from Curse. It's not even that long of a shot from Zuna. How does he slice this one through? Just like a mid-range double kill.
Oh, he just had enough time
to get both of them
to get that and the extra damage off of traveling. Very cool. It's just in the right spot at the right time. Nice shot indeed. So it looks like we got a 7,000 gold lead coming in as Curse going to try to stop that here in 1 second. There's Dragon. Benny on the other side now putting down a ward, and the team, they're quite far off. Benny's going to try put his Dragon hands in the air and scare him away.
Curse can get this one.
Nope, didn't work.
All right, Curse gets one of the Dragons. That's actually pretty huge for them. But XGG still just pulling farther and farther ahead here. You can see the Rabadon's Death Cap being completed on ManCloud is a huge purchase, as well as the Mikhail's Crucible being finished on a Sheep. He'd used that in the last fight as well, but it's just one of the main reasons Zuna was able to stay alive. Cleansing stuns off of him is absolutely critical.
Talking about Ziggs here. Saw a great game as well from Shifter. Ziggs having a heyday today. Really coming out strong in the plays. Right now, he's level 14. ManCloud is highest level in the game of anyone. Void Boy is level 13, so you can see that ManCloud's really trying to put himself in the front here and his team on the back.
Yeah, I don't know how Curse is going to get control of this game back.
Oh,
dear.
Wow. Oh, he hasn't even seen anyone yet. Still yet.
Ow. That's the trouble of trying to get map control back around the Baron area. And XGG is strong enough with the Elise they can kill it pretty quickly, actually. They also know that Bunny Fufu never even made it into water range, so they know Curse is going in blind here. It would be a great time to try and pull off a bait, but they're just going aggressive for this Baron.
Going for Dominate. I think they're just trying to
Once
pull
he
in
leaps
kills
out,
here, but
they
they're
know he's
still
not
leaving
close enough to
two.
get back in.
So that's not a hackable lot of damage that they're dealing out. This Baron is going to last a very long time, and Curse is now getting into position for something now. They got
Ooh,
Zuna on it.
Steal chance
That
for
is
Dominate.
going to
They're
help.
going for it.
Dominate looks to get into the pit. Dominate steals the Baron. I don't know if they're going to make it out alive with this, but they do get a huge surge of damage. All the stats now sitting on Quaz. They get 2 good kills in. It's going to be more. Bunny Fufu with the Zenith Blade onto Zuna. Boy is right there, but Scat of the Week is just a bit off. Sheep is there. Smithy, low health. They have 500 combined. Zuna's trying to walk out of this one 1,000 HP strong. Ooh. The Zenith Blade just missing on the end. No ace in the hole coming in. It's already been used for Cop, but the steal for Dominate was huge.
That was so clutch for I Will Dominate right there. Curse almost got about 4 kills off the back of it too, but you know, once the Baron is stolen, it's all about the fight. XDG actually went into focus a little bit onto I Will Dominate, and it grouped them for Quas's Slice and Dice. Then Zunas flashes right into Quas, and Bunny with the clutch catch on Azuna there to make sure they couldn't turn the fight around and that they'd have to be on a full chase. Really though, once they just had the Baron buff, all the wards, all the map control kind of goes to waste there, because XGG didn't get the kills and they didn't get the Baron. It's about the worst possible outcome for that move.
Gave Curse way too much time to get back from base. They're not even home.
Because so many
they're not
people,
even home guarded yet.
Yeah, so many people in that Baron fight jumped over the wall.
Yeah.
To try and get at Curse, and they left Benny on the Baron all by himself. They really only needed one person to go over the wall and ward him off, but leaving Benny alone at that Baron just stopped their DPS pretty much entirely, and also made them too low for the fight.
Not even leveled up on those Qs either. Dominate got in there under hard circumstances and got himself a Baron. Very nice play against an Elise as well to make that play strong. So only 4,000 gold down now. 6-4 in turrets as Curse has been able to pick up a little bit off of these slight advantages that they're getting, but they're still on the back foot. Yep. Baron's going to give them enough to kind of flex their muscles now. We'll see what XDG can do to stop the siege. They already got Ziggs, so they're well off to start.
How long was the last XDG versus Curse game? It was close to 60 minutes. This one might trend towards that with the Baron steal. It's still XGG with the substantial upper hand if they can withstand Curse with this Baron buff and then just continue the siege game they've been playing already. The fact that they have 6 turrets down speaks volumes to how much map control they actually had, and then also just all the AoE they have in team fights. Now that the game is kind of shrinking into big team fights since they're really trying to finish off the bases, they have the edge in those things. It's very hard for Curse to force isolationist skirmish-type fights, and their lane domination team composition just didn't work out. You're all alone.
Whoa! There's the ultimate. That's the vision that XDG has. As you can see, Spectator.
How slippery can Kha'Zix become? On
and off. He throws down the second. Throws the third. 40% movement speed. Vroom, and he's out of there. Oh no! That's the Ziggs bomb. He didn't leave it over.
Up pretty soon.
He can still hook it over. Oh, the rocket! Oh, Zuna! Predicted.
If there's one thing Zuna's good at, it's sniping with those global ultimates. He used to do it on Ezreal, now he gets to do it on Jinx.
Freak would
he aced
say
his geometry test in high school.
Yep. We'll see where they can go from this. I'm sure Zuna's feeling real good right now on these plays that he's being able to pull off. 3-1 and 4 on that Jinx. We have not seen a lot of W's for Jinx coming in.
It runs back pretty fast, though. He's gonna
Deja vu from last time. He did the same thing, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Run, 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 run.
The farther, dare fight. Down. Oh man, now Quas is actually kind of in a position.
If you wondered, that is the sound that the Golem makes. Zuna! Oh, wow, the double up! Boy, and the ace in the hole coming in from Cobb, able to take him out. A very nice flash. The satchel, though, after is what stopped it. That's on the ManCloud. He's going to have quite a bit of damage. He throws down the barrier, but he also gets a kill as he goes down himself. Benny is going to be trying to run out of this one. The Spider running back to take on a little bit of damage for Cobb. Boy gets hit. Oh, he's going to get a Spider bite. Sheep very low. He hits Smithy. They have 400 health combined. One shot is there. The Caliber net to come up. It's Dominate running in.
He's
40% movement speed. Activates another one. Give him some more. And again, there is the bite. And the bug goes splat.
The speed comes in right there from Curse. And it was all about the catch, really, at the start of this one. Quas seemed like he was out of position because he was, but then catching Zuna with the backside of that stun, not an instant McHale's, so they could queue up all the damage on him and nobody blocked the ace in the hole. So once Zuna was out of the picture, it was just power for Curse. Bunny Fufu lands a sweet ultimate, and it's just chase after chase after chase here. No really fast teams, so they're really just keeping pace, and it's reliant on them landing their skill shots to make sure these fights finish through. Gets the stun onto Sheep, and that was a nice stun from X-Smithy. Really, Curse showing how they're staying in this game despite the hard poke from XDG when they're catching the initiations just right, and if they can kill Zuna or ManCloud at the very start of these fights, they will continue to come back in this one because they're not fighting clean 5v5s if they're getting the kills so early on in the fight. Now we'll get the blue.
He doesn't have to bring it anywhere. Last time it was long walks on the beach. This time it's just dinner at home.
Did you know? I wanted to talk about it before the fight happened.
Hit me.
The farther Baron is away, or not Baron, Blue Buff is away from his camp, the faster he runs.
Yeah.
So if you have like a super pull team in a custom game like Syndra, Blitzcrank, Alistair, and you just like hit it all the way back to base, it'll zoom back to its original location. But it's actually really important that this Baron is coming up in a minute. And Curse is going to... Curse doesn't necessarily have to deal with Benny. They just have to clear the wave and make sure it's up there. But Dominate... Oh!
One stun goes off. I didn't think he was going to hit the other. So they miss it just off the shoulder of Dominate. But they do get that ward vision. That's going to be cleared out. So only for a little bit of time. They're saying, here's a little bit of gold. Walk off a Baron. We'll give you some more. 37 seconds on that as well. And that purple buff could be what...
Curse is just playing so dangerously right now. It seems like every second they're about to get caught out. They don't have the map control, but they're trying to play like they do. So they're going places where they don't have wards, and it's just, they're dodging bullets left and right.
Oh, Quas trying to move up. You can see the XDG is quickly pulled out of that area towards Baron. They're going to try to regain control here. Using out the sweepers, getting more wards in, so both teams really respecting the amount of damage that can come from this next fight. XDG not going to try this with a Baron dance. They just want the all-out engagement face-to-face.
Well, Curse wants to get another early kill onto ManCloud or Zuna. They actually got double cleanse prevention with the QSS on Zuna and the McHale's on Sheep. I would have preferred to see a Banshee's Veil onto Zuna because the health would just add a little bit more resiliency to him, and then he would rely on Sheep for the McHale's. But they've opted for the other route.
So we have a Dominate, or I should say a Dominate. I will Dominate using out that Kha'Zix's ultimate. That's going to be down for this next engagement as XDG now puts themselves in between that Baron. They have the chance to now set that potential scare up that they're actually doing it.
Well, the reason the Curse is starting to come back in here was because of the Baron steal. So this time XDG hoping to catch a fight.
Oh, Bunny Fufu, the first one in, but they know they can't instantly take him down, so he only takes the front end of that damage. It looks like they're both going to peel off of the fight. XDG delivering a little bit more. They want to make sure ManCloud can't get anywhere near the fight as well.
Yeah, with that BF sword on top of the 3 big items that Cop already has.
More flat damage from these ADs.
Yeah, so much flat damage. Just the Phantom Dancer. It's the typical. Infinity Edge is the last item for these guys damage-wise most of the time. But Curse is able to get the Dragon off of that little bit of Baron dancing. They continue to pull themselves back in this game. These are good tactical plays now that they've pulled themselves close.
See what XDG can do to make some breathing room here. Dominate taking a bit of damage. He's actually given full vision of the team by jumping back into them. You can see how quick XDG actually took control of that area now. They're happy to be here.
Yeah, Curse wanted to kill that pink ward, but it was way too dangerous. And there's a huge wave in this lane that they need to be able to clear out as well.
Ping down in mid. They say Zuna, get that mid wave pushed.
Rush the mid. That would be a great call for XDG if they get there right now. Curse way out of position.
Game of cat and mouse now. Who can get there sooner? It looks like XDG is able to cut him off. Curse having to take the detour. This is going to be big damage now. Zuna's going to ramp up on this. This is the part where XDG really begins to scale into the game. They already have, but it's going to start paying off here once they can get to these turrets.
Jinx gets some free time with the turrets in minigun form. It goes down real fast. Doesn't necessarily solve the problem for XDG. It just means Curse can't get out-rotated like that again, because in that case it would give him the advantage.
That was a really big thumbs up to XDG. That pretty much, they were only on their side of the river, and over 4 minutes they pushed Curse into that position, finally paying off in an inhibitor. It took a while, but they kept their mind in the right spot. 2,000 gold lead is all that they have now. It's been actually 1.2 thousand gold lead, to be truthful.
Yeah.
7 to 5 and
At
turrets.
one point, it was 5,000 or 6,000 that Curse is behind. And
13,000 gold in both mid, comp, and void. Wow.
Especially Quas's Renekton, who's fallen way behind the pace. 9,700 gold. AD carries are sitting around 13,000 gold right now. Already, the fact that he's on Renekton means he wouldn't scale well into the late game, which is actually why having 163 CS here isn't as bad as you would think. I see a lot of Renektons make the mistake of taking a lot of CS late game because Renekton can. He can clear away very quickly, slice, dice, Q, or if they have a Tiamat, it's just even faster. But because he knows his scaling is pretty much done and his relevancy in the game will decline anyway, he's giving the last hits to the people who do scale. So Voidboy and Cop are the ones taking all the farm. Even if there's a free lane, it's actually I will dominate who's running there and taking it. That's why he's got 142 on Kha'Zix right now. That could have been Quas's CS. He could be sticking even with Benny, but he's chosen not to because it's better for his team.
Blue buff engage here. They will be able to steal it over. I'm pretty sure that's Zuna's. It is. It was not a bomb that came in. We'll see Dragon going out. Quas is within range to give a bit of trouble, but the rest of the team is not. And you know, something we've talked about Quas as well is when he goes back onto the champions and everybody's playing, he doesn't play as well as when he brings out, you know, Trundle's been played a lot, but his Aatrox, things like that, things like Gragas in the top lane, does a little bit better when it's really outside the box.
Yeah, Renekton is the box.
Yep. And he's had this situation too. It's not just a lane swap. We've seen Quas have to play himself in the jungle for the first 3 levels and still come out on top for Curse. So XDG doing a really good job at putting the hurting on the top lane this time and making Quas a non-factor so far. Voidboy though, 301 CS, a little bit behind on ManCloud. They had quite a great mid lane, but they're still going at it.
Cop has gotten a lot of items here too.
Yeah.
He's another big threat upcoming this team fights. That's why Benny's working on a Randwins. All these guys really just farming. Like, they realize how pivotal the next set of fights could be. I'd say XGG played the early game far superior. The mid game was definitely won by Curse. Now, the late game is where XGG should win, but Curse has the momentum right now.
If they can start getting a good amount of armor on Quas, even more, I mean, and then on the rest of the team, Zuna's kind of fit in that Quicksilver sash as opposed to Cop's Infinity Edge, which is really going to start outputting some good damage. So,
yeah.
Hopefully we can get these guys into the fight. Cop in good positioning. He does have Dominate Quas and Bunny Fufu to dive in for him.
Huge wave that Voidboy just had to go clear, which means XTG is going to try and rush in for something. They don't have the best initiation, though. They're more of a disengaged poke team. They have trouble forcing things.
They're moving a lot more confidently, though. Every time they want something, the whole team is going that direction. They're not waiting. Ace in the hole onto Zuna brings him almost down to half, just above. Might as well be here. He's not going to be able to fight with that HP. And Quas and the rest of the team is trying to dictate this down to the mid lane. Curse trying to take back control. Talisman. Looks like it's just a to-do on the fight.
Yeah, if you take a look at the actual initiation power of XGG, despite them having like good push and siege potential, their catch potential is very low. It's difficult for Sheep to land the E just off itself. If Xmithy doesn't land that cocoon, they don't go in, right? The only thing they would chain with that cocoon would be the Zyra stuff, Stranglethorns and Grasping Roots.
Yep.
But if they don't get in position to do that, then they can't necessarily fight Curse. So they're kind of doing this dance, hoping that Xmithy can catch a cocoon onto a priority target, and it just hasn't happened.
The average game time on the screen, just around 38 minutes. We've passed that. If I recall correctly, this was one of our 51-ish minute games. It was definitely close to that hour long. Might have been Voidboy on LeBlanc, that one. We had some quite long LeBlanc games that week. Right now, Syndra versus ManCloud in the mid lane. Our featured matchup on this one was Bunny Fufu and Sheep in that bottom. Whoa, wait a minute. We'll see if the featured matchup actually gets Sheep killed on this. Going into the fight, they both back off, but that was quite chaotic for both teams as they size up what the damage was. Oh, man.
He's going to try it.
I was going to say.
He would be a crazy man. That's safe, though. He's going a little bit more tanky now that he has his last Whisper. That was just kind of showing how difficult it is for these teams to engage on each other. Curse doesn't want to fly straight in because they'd be walking through Zyra, who's a heavy disengage already.
Yeah.
Yet XGG doesn't have very strong engage, which is why we're trapped in this murky Baron Dance world.
See what XDG can do. Moving towards the top side of the jungle. They know that the bottom side will be a problem in a little while. I see 2 huge waves coming in for Curse on that side, but it's going to be about grabbing Baron. Who can get Nasher first? Looks like Curse is just going to clear mid and head their way up as well.
The Lich Bane has been completed on a Man Cloud as well, which will be huge in this fight. This could be another Baron steal opportunity. They're all grouped up.
They go off. That's Sheep taking a big amount of damage. A beautiful Stranglethorn going down as Quas gets himself into the fight. Able to get good damage down onto Sheep. Dominate onto the backside is trying to hit up Benny as hard as he can. Bunny Fufu gets a little too deep as they go 2 for 1 right off the bat. And it looks like XDG might want to go for Baron.
That fight started so well for Curse, but ended so poorly for them because they got split up by Sheep's dying breath, basically. He threw down the ultimate and zoned them. Now Curse is trying to stop them finishing Baron because the damage dealers are mainly alive for Curse right now. They just have no tank line. It's gone.
Can't get a hole in there. Voyboy trying to get vision on what's going down. Cop could have a Peacemaker or a shot over the wall. Dominate cannot really get in range for this. He's going to die if he dives in, and he does not. Baron goes over to XDG in a chaotic fight back and forth that really Curse couldn't do anything about after the initial fight.
Look at the start on his Sheep getting him very low, but then also look at all the Zyra stuff stopping him. The fact that I Will Dominate got hit by the Jinx ult really was good for Curse, but then Bunny went in as Quas was going out. They all should have been going back out, and then they could have defended it, but because they lost 2 while going too far in, it cost them the Baron.
That's pretty big yo-yo effect going back and forth between these 2 teams. XDG now getting the Baron for themselves. First one was going over to Dominate off the steal when Xmithy was trying to get it. So XDG coming up with what was rightfully theirs that time. They still have the up on 7 turrets in the game. They have a little bit of that map pressure they can work with. Mid's open right now, so they're going to try to get that lane pushed in.
Wonder when Cop's going to get his next item as well. He's sitting on 1,600 gold, but getting maybe a little bit defensive might give him more confidence in these team fights. He needs a little bit of MR because right now, if Man Cloud hits him with a auto attack, he's going to go to half health with that Lich Bane. Important Dragon for him to rush down though. He's keeping the gold kind of in check. Dragon is worth only a little bit less than Baron right now. 40 gold less per person.
Ooh, again, XDG trying to out-rotate here. They knew the Baron was being, or Dragon rather, was being grabbed up. They won't have Xmithy for this, but they will have Zuna try to get to that inhibitor, and we'll see what happens. We have Bunny, Fufu, and Comp both in the base, so they're back to defend.
I really wonder if this is more beneficial for Curse to just give the inhibitor and then hold at the turrets, only because XG has Baron right now, and if they lost a fight, the game would definitely be over. Whereas if they just give the inhibitor and then hold at their turrets until Baron buff is gone, they could extend it and hope for another mistake from XGG or a great catch by Curse.
And it's also going to get a lot easier for XDG with that minion wave up top.
But if he can just do that.
Over to Zuna, the Ignite's not down though. The ace in the hole is blocked by Xmithy. A huge chop being taken out of Voyboy by Benny, and the Inferno Rocket is going to miss. Oh man, Dominate could be getting hit up. Ooh, very nice. Gets himself jumped out with that Hex Drinker. The stealth play keeping him safe. It looks like it's going to be a 1 for none in favor of Curse.
Well, they can just defend the inhibitor, apparently. It's all about Zuna getting hit by that Voyboy stun, and even though he had the QSS, it eventually didn't save him because Dominate got him much, much later. We got to credit to our camera this game. They're falling Ziggs bombs everywhere. Yeah. They're toggling stealth when he's going in and out. But yeah, through the barrier, and then the whole team went to block for Zuna. But then just keep a track of Kha'Zix. He just zooms through the team while he's stealth and just jumps over everyone. Finishes him off again because he's went invisible. That is why many people think Kha'Zix is the best jungler on the current patch, because he'll get to the target and then can also get out. So much stealth duration.
So I've been seeing a lot of Eve, that side gank coming in or just being able to get in undetected. Such a huge advantage. You can see Dominate using it there to get his team a nice kill onto Zuna, which is the tower pressure right now that they have to shut down. So far, they're being able to shut down everything if they can't reach the towers. So good on Curse. I'll have to just hold off Baron for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle for XGG to finish this game. They've been struggling for quite a while to try and finish this one off. And after all the disappointment they've suffered this year, it has just got to be weighing on them mentally to just not be able to close out Curse. Especially this Curse team who has also been struggling, not as much as XGG, but the fact that Curse could sweep XGG would be incredible for them. They're right on their back foot right now, though, as XGG is going to try round 2 for this inhibitor. This time, though, with just a little bit of time left on the Baron, they're not going to have it for the majority of this play.
No, they got it.
It's going to be gone in a second.
Less than 10 seconds left on that Baron. ManCloud doing what he can to get the last bit of siege out. Dominate. Could be a big play here. He has Zuna in his eyes. That barrier was used in the last fight, and he is in perfect position. You can see XDG is only worried about warding the top side of the jungle right now.
Yeah, this
could hurt him.
This is tense. Is Dominate gonna go in? And they're gonna try force initiation. He Randuin's in the back.
Randuin's well. He is invisible. Tries to get that early damage down. Confused Zuna. He's almost able to get it, but Zuna takes him out during the jump.
That's
the
huge.
Shutdown coming in, and that is going to be the front end damage that Curse was relying on. The Zanyas keeps him safe as the missile passes by. Boy will still go down in the end. Bunny Fufu trying to come up big on the outside to stop the further initiation, and he gets a great solar flare.
This could actually be the game. A desynced initiation by Curse grants XDG 2 kills. They have a 5v3 with 50-second death timers. They're going for the inhibitor, maybe more.
They still got Zuna. There he is, trying to get the shots. Look how fast that is falling. You also have the Lich Bane coming in from ManCloud's auto attacks and that damage, so they are taking things down real quick. The top lane is pushed in, but they should have some time to back and get themselves back in.
After such a hold, Curse got a little bit impatient and tried to initiate straight in. He gets a Randuin's on Zuna, but really, just not enough. Zuna is a full item Jinx right now, and he hits extremely hard. If Curse could have had anyone else comboing with that will Dominate, yeah, sure, it would have absolutely been a nice kill, but they just didn't have it, and it proved to be fatal. But they only lose the inhibitor for it. That's actually quite fortunate.
Crazy, crazy fights going back and forth. A 4,000 gold lead for XDG as they pull away a little bit more. 4 minutes over our last game of 45-01. Looks like these guys are going once again for the long haul. XDG trying to push into the base of Curse, but at any given time, Curse can be in the base of XDG off a good fight here.
Blue buff is theirs once again. It actually goes to Sheep, which might not have been what they wanted, but Plants got to eat. They took the blue buff.
Yeah. Where are they going with this? Top lane pushed in quite well. They're trying to get away from where Dominate is. He's going to have to go coast to coast to offer help to the team. So is Bunny Fufu. They're quite off on this one.
Yeah. They got to get back really quickly, especially because Benny can be in the base right now and flank around the sides of Curse. Boy, despite his great farm, hasn't been able to zero anyone out. It's a non-DFG Cinder build, so his single target burst isn't quite at the level that we would have been used to seeing.
Zuna taking the long way around, not getting close to anybody that he knows where they are.
This might just be a Baron for XDG. We'll see how well Curse can defend it. If they position themselves in the mid lane and push down really hard, it might work out, but the Baron's coming up in 10 seconds. They do not have vision control. They got to watch out getting caught. Bunny, stay with your team.
Very close. Banshee's Veil's off on 2, actually. They get a good bit of damage on the end of that as well. Causing Curse get a little bit more control of the team before they initiate. Quaz is already low to start this fight.
Also, just because of how late it is right now, Zuna and Smithy can basically take this Baron by themselves, and that's what they're doing right now while they zone in the mid lane.
Dominate's going to be on one side. The ward goes over the wall. A nice grasping root shuts down Dominate. He's already down to half health. That's going to be a huge Mega Inferno bomb. And Benny's already there with the Randuins. The rocket comes in from the backside as Benny ducks pie to the face of Quaz. Dominate's now going to get chewed up here. The bug might go down, but it looks like he's got enough speed to get out of this one. Sheep forcing the flash on that with the grasping roots, and it looks like they're going to have another turret for themselves. Boy coming out of nowhere, throws down the Zanyas. Should go down in the end as he is just standing in the team of XDG. They're going to follow up on the fight chat, and this looks like it could be game.
Well, Dominate is still alive, but I think it could be as well. That's 4 people up, only the support down for XDG, plus the Baron. An ill-fated fight once again for Curse. How hard is it to hold now? They do have Cup up. He's pretty fed. That's a lot of people, though.
They don't have minions for these turrets. Going to be a little bit stronger for them to take down. So they're going towards the top side here, and they're going to get the outside inhibitor if they can. Smithy with the one to be tanking it up as he is quite healthy right now. That Golan, the Randuins, as well as a Banshee's Veil. Going on to the inhibitor as well. They make quick work of what objectives are left in the base of Curse, and they may be going for the long haul here.
Well, they got the minions now, and Benny taking the turret.
That Lich Bane shot coming out of ManCloud. Watch that turret fall, crushes it down. They're going to be going for the Nexus. We get another 50-plus minute game out of XDG versus Curse, but XDG's able to find the win and stop the bleeding.
Really important win for XDG here. They have now the same number of wins as Evil Geniuses as they really try and crawl out of that 7th and 8th spot. Beating Curse, a team that had prior beaten XDG 3 times this season, is huge. XDG took a late game team composition, won the early game, had some struggles in the mid lane. It wasn't the smoothest game, let's be completely honest, but they did come together at the end, forced Curse into some difficult fights, and came out the victors.
Leave it up to Zuna and Sheep to pick 2 new champions in the same lane for themselves, playing them in the LCS. To come out quite well. Very strong play from Sheep.